Hey everyone, Seth Hawkins, Community Forester with the Georgia Forestry Commission here. Today we're here to talk about the importance of planting trees to replace tree canopy loss to storm events such as Hurricane Michael or any other storms that have come through Georgia in the last few years. The Georgia Forestry Commission and the Georgia Tree Council are partnering on the ReLeaf Program, which is an opportunity for your community to get free trees to then hand out to residents to start to plant in their yards to replace that lost tree canopy. It's really important to learn and understand how to properly plant these trees so we can make sure the trees we plant today will grow to maturity and one day provide that full range of benefits we all want and expect from our tree canopy. So let's walk through the planting process together and make sure we all know how to properly plant our trees we'll get from the ReLeaf Program. So Alex Ballard, another one of our community foresters, is going to demonstrate some of these tree planting techniques while I kind of walk us through it. So the first step with properly planting a tree is making sure you dig a good tree planting hole. So Alex is getting started on digging our hole, and you notice that his footprint that he's digging, it's a nice wide hole, right? So much wider than that tree pot is. So you want the hole to be at least 2 or 3 times as wide as the actual root ball is. The other thing is you don't want to dig the hole too deep. The number one mistake we see with tree planting is the hole being dug too deep and the tree being planted too deep. And another important concept is making sure the edges of the hole are sloped at a roughly 30-degree angle. So as you can see, we got our tree hole dug pretty well. It's nice and wide and shallow. You notice those kind of sloped out sides. And one other thing we like to do, you'll notice Alex doing, is kind of scraping up the edges of that tree planting hole. Because as you smear your shovel down in there, sometimes that can compact the soil on the edges a little bit. So it's always good just to break that up a little bit. Once you got your nice wide, shallow, sloped out on the edges hole dug, then it's time to actually put the tree in the ground and make sure we got our depth right. Okay, so again, we got our hole nice and prepped here and ready to go. So now it's time to actually take this tree out of the pot and put it in here. So again, this is about the size pot. There's going to be 5 and 7 gallon trees with the ReLeaf program. This is pretty similar to what the size tree you can expect to be planting in your backyard. So you can see it's got a good size root ball on there, but also small enough that most homeowners can handle them. So we got our hole dug out. Now it's time to slide this tree out of here and see what we got. And it's important to not pull on that trunk. You want to try to work that root ball out of the pot without yanking on the trunk. So don't be alarmed if you pull it out of your pot and the root ball kind of falls apart on you. You'd rather have the loose root ball like that than it to be all pot bound up in there. If it is all pot bound, just make sure to loosen that root ball up. So if you take it out of the pot and it falls out, not a big deal. Everything still applies. Just make sure that we're getting the depth right on it. So what we're looking for here is to make sure this root collar, where those roots start to grow, we just want to make sure that's right above ground level. So we don't want to plant it too deep because that's bad for the tree. We don't want to plant it too shallow because then some of the roots will dry out. This depth right here looks just about right. We got our first order root right at about grade, so this should be good. You know, as far as straightness, just try to make sure with a tree that's kind of crooked like this, just make sure you got the main part of the trunk straight, and this thing should right itself over time. So now it's just time to start backfilling. So, you always want to make sure and backfill with the native soil that you pulled out of the hole. You don't want to backfill with like topsoil or garden soil or anything. You want the soil texture to be just like it was before we disturbed any soil, just so the water will keep moving through the landscape like it always has. So you want to make sure and break up any, large dirt clods, just to try to make sure you get a good solid fill and you don't have a big air pockets and void space. Also try to keep grass clumps and stuff like that out of there just because they'll degrade faster than the soil would, and they'll leave some void spaces as well. So after we planted our tree, watering and mulching is an important and integral part of proper tree planting. So you can see Alex is going to add about 5 gallons to this tree, so that's probably a good rule of thumb for you to follow at home when you're planting these 5 or 7 gallon trees. So add about 5 gallons to the tree right after you plant it, and then we're also going to add some mulch here in a second. So after you've got the tree watered in, adding some mulch is again a really important step of proper tree planting. So you can see Alex is spreading some wood chips around the tree, and he's gonna thin those out. You want the mulch to be about 2 or 3 inches thick depending on soil texture, and as far out from the base of the tree as you have mulch available, but 3 or 4 foot out from the tree is a pretty good rule of thumb. So we picked out the right tree for the right place and we planted it properly. So with a little time and some supplemental water for the first few summers, this tree should get off to a good start and one day be a big, vibrant, mature tree that provides a lot of benefit to the community. If you'd like to learn more detail about tree planting, there's other resources on our website, gatrees.org, where we have other videos and publications to help you with tree planting. And if you would like to learn more about the ReLeaf program, you can visit the Georgia Tree Council's webpage and look at more information about the program and also submit applications if your community would like to participate. Thanks for watching today, and I hope everyone gets out and plants their trees from the ReLeaf program.